All right, fellas, we got Alex, Nadir, Brian, and Ben. Welcome to the podcast, fellas.
Happy to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, excited.
So you are not only high-performing, hard-charging men with families, you're family men with businesses, not businessmen with families, but you're also a band, which is why I want to have this conversation today. And for anybody who might be listening to Front Row Dads for the very first time, and not familiar with some of our, our word choices like you are a band, let's talk about what that means. Nadir, I'm going to go to you first, buddy. What does being in a band mean to you? What is your band? Who are you guys, and why did you assemble?
Well, I think for us, I think we all came from different walks of life, and we all wanted to be more entrenched in the community of Front Row Dads. And I think all of us have certain similarities. Some of us come from different backgrounds, but certainly in terms of the ages of our kids, we have that common ground. So I think it's really been nice to just hash it out with these guys. Sometimes it's informal, sometimes it's more formal, but really it's about the community of us coming together and really just talking things out and having each other's backs.
Brian, how often are you guys meeting?
We meet about every 2 weeks for the most part. Sometimes it's sooner if we have to, but we've actually been pretty flexible with that. But usually it's every 2 weeks.
And for how long?
Oh boy, guys, when did we start doing this? It's kind of just flown by.
Beginning of May was our first one.
Yeah.
But I think what John's asking is typically an hour and a half.
Yeah, both.
Oh, I thought you meant how long would we been a band?
Yeah, both. By the way, those are two good answers. And so you guys meet virtually, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because
yeah.
So let's actually talk
Brian's
about that.
like 6'4", but none of us know that for sure.
Let's actually talk about that for a quick minute. We'll do a quick introduction of each of you. So maybe just take a minute and you could share your name, a little bit about your family, and maybe a little bit about what you do during the day to put food on the table. Let's just do a basic introduction for each of you guys. Alex, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, Alex Kuzna is my name. Married to my wife, Brooke, and we've got 3 kids. Vivian is 5 years old. Ivy is 3. And our son Case just turned 1 last week. During the day, well, after being a dad, of course.
Of course.
I'm in real estate, residential sales, and a little bit of real estate investing as well.
And did you say where you are, Alex?
Oh, no, I did not. Fargo, North Dakota.
Okay, great. Ben, how about you, buddy?
Yeah, Ben Gibson, married to my wife, Cherie, and we've been together for 12 years as of this year. We have 2 boys. I have a 3-year-old named Brant, and I have a 6-month-old named Oak. So we are just right in the thick of it all right now. We're up in Bend, Oregon, which is just heaven on earth. And during the day, outside of dad duties and husband duties, I work in tech sales.
Very cool. That's awesome. Brian.
Yeah. Brian Johnston, live in Grand Rapids, Michigan, married to my wife, Janelle, and we have a 1-year-old son named Kyler. For a career, I'm a business consultant, so I help companies with quality systems and getting certified to ISO standards and stuff like that. So
Awesome, man. And Nadir.
Yeah, Nadir, married to my wife, Zara. We have 2 kids, 4-year-old Kazana and 2-year-old Azan. We're up here in Vancouver, Canada. And during the day, actually, so these days I actually identify myself more as a stay-at-home dad, if anything else. So busy with the kids, and in between, I do some work on the side, mainly tech consulting.
Very cool. He gets paid $10 million an hour. He works 1 hour a year.
I wish.
But he focuses on the kids. That's funny. Alex, why did you say yes to Front Row Dads? Just let's go back a little bit and pave the way to how you ended up in a band, and then we'll talk about some of the things that happen in your band. But take us back to the journey of how did you find the community, and how and why did you say yes?
Yeah, when I was setting my goals for this year, I don't remember the exact wording I wrote down, but I wrote something down about find a men's/dads group to be a part of. And I didn't know I didn't know what that looked like exactly, but basically I wanted to be able to, bounce ideas off of other people, or even just like know that other people are having some of the same struggles that I'm having. With well, whatever, everyone has a lot of struggles with raising kids. None of us really know what we're doing. And I just kind of wanted to find some people that I could connect with, either to know that I'm not the only one going through it, or to get help, get ideas on how to improve as a dad.
Yeah.
And so then just having that written down, one of my like main 6 or 7 goals for the year. And when you have something on your mind, you're more open to receive it. And another front row dad in where I live here in North Dakota, Kyle Reedstrom, I was doing a real estate transaction with him, and I just happened to see in his email signature, family men with businesses, not businessmen with families. And I was like, that is so in line with my values. I need to ask him more about that. And that it was like 6 days before the Vibrant Health Summit. So that, like, I talked to him, I signed up for that, and I had to join immediately.
That's awesome, man. I'm so glad you did too. It's always amazing to me how people find front row dads. Right when you said that, the email signature, I went back and thought about Qasim talking to our group about how he put this in his email signature. And he said, what if all of us in Front Row Dads could commit to just putting, proud to be a front row dad or member of the Front Row Dads community in our email signature, just so people, just like you said, might ask about it. And then we could find more of the people that we're looking to attract into this community.
And I believe he's in Kyle's band.
Yes, that's right.
And yeah, so I didn't even know that part of the story. So I probably wouldn't be here right now if he didn't say that and Kyle didn't follow through with it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't even know what my own email signature says. So I don't even know why I saw that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Maybe if you don't have it already, you can add something to it, and maybe the next Front Row Dad brother will find his way in.
Writing it down.
That's awesome, man. Ben, how about for you, buddy? What's your journey into this community? Why did you say yes?
Yeah, so I think I had seen Front Row Dad sort of through my network periodically. And yeah, I think timing in someone's life is like a big factor. And it's like, I'm always a big proponent that people make big life changes in a moment of inspiration or desperation. And I had just had my second child, and I feel like I was deep in both. I was so inspired to just like really elevate how I showed up as a dad, as a husband, and so desperate because I was so not showing up in the way that I had anticipated, being this great father of 2 and showing up as a husband and striking that balance between like my own ambitions and my work, and then me being the husband and father that I wanted to be. And so I think I signed up at like 1 a.m. on a sleepless night right after my second had been born. Because I realized that, I have invested so much time into being a great professional and pursuing these other things. And it was this moment of like, damn, I'm really not showing up as a husband and a father. And I think that's the investment that's really missing. So Front Row Dads right at that moment was what I needed, signed up, and yeah, it's exceeded all the expectations that I had on the outset. So
did you already know people in the community?
Yeah. I knew a few folks through kind of the Cutco network, and kind of seen it, and I didn't really know what it was entirely, and I think it was just like that. I needed that moment in my life for it to call to me in my moment of desperation. So yeah,
100%. And that's part of the story of why this all began. Was there was this moment when Tatiana really called me up as a man to serve my family at a higher level, and that was a moment for me where it was for sure a defining moment. There's many, many dominoes that had to be set up. Mm-hmm. Brian, how about for you, man? What's your story?
Yeah, so I found about Front Row Dads through a buddy of mine in high school, Zach Brown. He's out of Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Yes,
yeah,
incredible human.
Yeah, he's a good guy. But he actually introduced me to the group when I wasn't even a dad yet. Janelle was still pregnant. So I at least got the concept of the group. He told me all about it. You know, I love the concept. Obviously businessman with, our slogan and everything. And basically, it took me a couple months, but 2 months in, as a father, getting used to everything, getting acclimated. And then I kind of realized, the things from this group could really be something that would benefit me. I love the message. Researched you guys online quite a bit, listened to the podcast, signed up, attended my first event. It was a business evolution event. It was on like EOS, which is actually this thing right behind me on the wall here. That's an EOS poster. So it was kind of relevant like to my job. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is like first day value. So that's how I really got started. And it's been great ever since.
That's awesome. Did I tell you
bonus
guys?
time day one?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Bonus time day one. Brian, did you hear me mention, I think I said this on the last summit, but I just had an hour-long conversation with Gino Wickman. Did I tell you this?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know, Gino wrote the book Traction. He is the father of EOS. And we just chatted for an hour, and likely Gino is going to be our guest next year for the Emotional Intelligence Summit, because Gino's been doing a lot of work on the inner systems that drive a human now. And he loves what we're up to at Front Row Dads. And I am a big fan of his work. So yeah, a little EOS connection there as well. Nadir, let's go to you, buddy. What was your journey into this brotherhood?
Yeah, so I like these guys. I didn't really have an existing, connection to the group at all. But my first exposure to FRD was actually hearing you, John, on a podcast with Jeff Woods, The One Thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was a really great episode, and I kind of just filed it away. I might have made a note of it at some point, but I didn't really think about it for a while. And about a year and a half ago, I went through sort of a career transition, and then last September, my wife and I were having a conversation leading up to that, and she actually went back to work full time from being on mat leave since we had both kids, and we did a bit of a role reversal. So I was the one sort of more managing things at home, and she was the one going out in the morning, coming back in the evening on a full-time job. And so I really wanted to make sure that I was well prepared for that journey, and sought out all I could to kind of learn as much as I could to really, perform well at home. And a couple of months in, there were some ups and downs, and I think it was in December when I joined, but I was probably having a bit of a rough day. And earlier in that time, my wife had also encouraged me, to kind of get some mentorship or join some kind of community or group. And this was the one that really came to mind because I had heard you on the podcast before. And then I just went to the website, and I must say that, the way the website is written, and it really speaks to the type of people that you want to attract to the community. And I really felt, I felt a very strong pull to join. And that's when I did. I just joined right on the spot.
Guys, and now that you jumped in, you became members, and then within our community, again, for context here for everybody listening and those who are newer to Front Row Dads, often small groups are formed within the larger group. So we have 300 men right now from 14 different countries. Did you guys, by the way, quick tangent here. Did you see the picture in the Facebook group of the international guys with their graduation hats on? Did you see this?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
those guys, 3 dudes from 3 different countries. And I was there launching their band, and they immediately hit it off. But dude, what a classic group, man. They're so supportive of each other. And so anyway, people have found each other within the group to form these smaller groups that we call bands. And easily you could say that the reason that we chose the word band is for a band of brothers. That's an easy link. But also in the front row, when you think about front row of a concert, you think about a band, you think about why a band works. And when a band works together, when they riff together, they all bring oftentimes in a band, people bring something different to the table. Not everybody plays the same instrument. Not everybody has the same life challenges. Not everybody has the same voice. Not everybody has the same talents. And so But you get people together and you say, how do we harmonize together? How do we how do we co-create something where, you know, where the outcome is that everybody is stronger and better because you each bring something to the table. That's ultimately the idea, right? And that you create something because of these deep conversations that you're willing to have. My band has been operating now for almost 4 years. We meet every month for 2 hours. And because we happen to be in person, we're able to do that. I don't think, you know, I don't think it's a make or break for bands to be able to get together in person. And you're proof of that, right? To be able to do something on Zoom once every couple weeks. I'm curious, Alex, from your perspective, why does your band work? What are the ingredients? What are the things that make your band unique, and why is it functioning so well right now?
Yeah, I know, like, probably maybe the thing I value the most is, well, one, like our Telegram, like our group chat that we have going, we stay pretty active on it. And, you know, anytime someone's got a concern or even just a struggle or a win, like, no one gets left hanging for a couple days or anything. So we stay pretty on top of that and supporting each other that way. But one thing I appreciate so much is, like, here in Fargo, I know all these people that all grew up with, like, the same surroundings, the same community, the same very similar values. And it's great to connect. I mean, we're in 3 different time zones between the 4 of us. Like, it'd be tough to be much further apart. So it's great to get some different perspective compared to just everyone who grew up around me already.
Exactly. Ben, what about for you, man? What are the ingredients that make this work?
I think the thing that I really appreciated from day one, I'm the newest member of the band. And I think the thing I was seeking out in joining a band was just deeper, richer conversations. And I think from day one, showing up, and like, that's how people show up, is like, the expectation is like, we're going to go deep, we're going to get real, and we're going to get there right away, is the thing that I have really just loved about this group. And that there's really, like, nothing that you couldn't share. There's nothing off the table. There's no feeling of judgment. It's really just like a truly safe space to go deep and talk about the real deal about, you know, being a husband, being a father. So that's what it is for me.
Ryan, what about for you? Same answer, different answer?
Along the lines, pretty similar. But overall, I mean, it's been great, obviously, getting to grow with these guys over the last 6 months or so. And it's crazy, like, obviously, like Alex was saying, we're in completely different areas, completely different situations. But it's been great because obviously all of our kids are around the same age. You know, we can compare similar stories, give each other advice. Like, it's been great hearing the amount of, like, Disney World advice I've gotten from these guys for when I'm going to go there in a few years. But, you know, like,
awesome.
Stuff like that, it's like you can connect with those guys. It's on, like, a, you know, obviously just the dad level, the husband level, if we're struggling with something, if we need ideas, or if anything, like, we're struggling with, it's been great these guys have been great just to open up to. I know for me, like, my son's had a couple of febrile seizures in his first year, which is one of the scariest things me and my wife have really ever had to go through. So being able to kind of have a place besides, you know, family and stuff to go to, it's been huge for me, just to open up and kind of either get some advice, see if any of them have been through similar situations, or just, you know, vent if I have to. It's been really nice. So yeah, that's kind of the things that have been a real good takeaway, at least so far in the band. So,
Nadir, anything to add here?
Yeah, look, along the same lines, if there's one thing I would add, if somebody's listening to this and either in a band or thinking about joining one, I think cadence matters. I think having that spot on the calendar saved once we agree to that time and people show up, I think that's important. And we've done a good job of doing that. Everybody's committed to making this part of their weekly or bi-weekly schedule. So I think that matters a lot. I wouldn't say we meet at the same time, you know, every day on the same day of the week or anything like that, but generally speaking, Factoring in the time zones, we're kind of in, early afternoons, which works for everybody. But I think the 2 or 3 week, we haven't gone really more than 3 weeks without a call. And I think that matters because it keeps the momentum up, especially when you're early. And like Ben said, right, you can talk about things right away and get into it.
Yeah, guys, are all of you going to Front Row Dad Live?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, so you're gonna hang in person for the first time.
Yeah. We're gonna
Yeah.
jam.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's awesome. I don't know how many full bands will be there. That's really a hat tip to you guys. That's so cool. And for anybody who's listening in, you likely heard me talk about this because I've talked about it a bunch. And actually, I don't even know when this episode's going to drop. So it might be after Front Row Dad Live. I don't think so. I think this is actually coming out quicker. So if anybody wants more information, it's on the homepage of the website. It's our first open live event for all members and people who want to be members of Front Row Dads. But you can go and check out what's going to happen. It's December 2nd through the 4th in Austin. It's going to be a great experience. We had an hour-long team prep call today for it, and I can't wait for you guys to experience some of the surprises that we have. And man, it's just, I looked at the agenda and I was just starting to giggle out loud about what's about to unfold. It's going to be really cool. Guys, let's talk about the benefit of being together. And the question, which I'll kind of open up to all 4 of you, if one of you wants to take the lead on this, is, when you think about an actual result, right? So we talk about in Front Row Dads, if we wanted a result to be a better father, to be a better husband, to be healthier, or any of the pillars, you could pick what progress looks like in that. And you go, well, that's my target. I want to get that goal. I want to improve for me, for my family, for the world. You reverse engineer that. You go, how do we get there? For most people, it's because they get the right resources to get there. That might be wisdom. That might be a tool, an actual tool that you can hold in your hand. It might be some software. It might be a book recommendation. It's a framework. It's something that's a resource for you to get there. Sometimes it's just a buddy who's encouraging you, seems resourceful, right? To keep you on track and keep you moving, or checking in on you, right? And holding you to your word. But then you back that up and then you go, well, what's at the core of all those resources? The best resources in the world, and that's relationships. Typically it's relationships. And you gentlemen have probably heard me say that you can go Google how to be a better dad, but you'll be swimming in content that you have to sift through for days and months and years, perhaps, of a massive amount of internet data, versus when we find the right people in our lives, and those people really know us. They know what makes us tick. They know our strengths. They know our weaknesses. They know our situations. And we then come to them with a vulnerable ask, a question, a target, a goal, a vision. They can more effectively support us with that. That's typically how and why this community works, and why we say we're not a content community. We are a community of brothers who first build relationships, then share the resources in order to get the results that they want. So I say all that to tee up the question, which is, can you point to specific moments in your life as a community amongst yourselves, the 4 of you, that you would go, I came with a challenge, I got a resource, and then I experienced a result in my life because of this band. I made progress because of these guys. I'm interested in those stories.
Well, maybe I can share one that comes to mind right away. So in one of our band calls, so Alex is the early riser in our group. He's been, consistently waking up early before the kids, and sort of I was inspired by that. I've always wanted to do it. I've always struggled with it because I've never been a morning person. I've always been a night owl prior to kids. And I knew that I had to kind of change and make this shift. So one day I mentioned it on a band call, and Brian says, I said, look, I'm going to do this. We're doing this no sugar thing for September. I'm like, I want to keep this going. I don't want it to be just about necessarily, sugar was just a thing. I just wanted to be about doing a challenge for 30 days and actually following through on it. So in October, I said, okay, I'm going to do Miracle Morning. And Brian just stepped up and he's like, yeah, I'll do it with you. So I said, okay, cool. That's 2 of us. Let's do it. And then John, you taught us, even for No Sugar September, prep your body, right?
Yeah.
Prep your body. So the last few days of September, I was trying to prep my body. I was trying to sleep earlier, wake up a little bit earlier. And I think the last day, it was September the 30th or something, I actually just spun up a new Telegram. I added Brian to it. And then I posted in, I think it was Vibrant Health, say, hey, like me and my bandmate are doing this. Anybody want to join? And within a couple of days, we had 25 people on this new Telegram for Miracle Morning October. And even John, you sent us an inspiring message. You said, I'm, with your kids, and Uncle Hal Elrod's going to be there. So come to Front Row Dads Live. So that was this new thing for us that we just started, just based on a quick, off the cuff comment that I made on a band call. And Brian jumped up and joined me. So I think if none of that happened, I'm not sure if I would be doing Miracle Morning or not. I don't know what would have happened. So I'm happy about that. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, no problem. And you took my answer, by the way.
Okay. Good thing I went first. I jumped in.
You know what that reminds me of, guys, is do you remember the video that went totally viral from Derek? I think, did Derek Sivers talk about this, or was it his initial share? It was called First Follower, and it was a guy at the Sasquatch music festival, and he starts dancing crazy in the lawn. Do you remember this? And then somebody else jumps in and starts dancing with him, and the next thing you know, there's hundreds of people that are in this dance party. And what was interesting was they talked about the power of the first follower. We sometimes talk about the leader, the one who says, which is important, right? Like, would you like to join me? Or here's what we're doing. The person who jumps up and dances. But if it's only one person that jumps up and dances, there's not really a movement that comes from that. What sparks the movement is somebody else that goes, I'll join you, And I remember back when we started Front Row Dads back in 2016, I was talking with John Kane, one of my best friends in this world. And Johnny and I were sitting down talking about our goals. We would always do goal setting for each campaign, and each year we'd review what we'd want to create together. We'd say, what are our goals and what do we want to create together? That was kind of the way we approach brotherhood. What are your individual goals and what do we want to do together? And so we were talking about, getting people together to become better fathers. That was both something we were really interested in talking about more. And what we always realized, we said, all you have to do is get a couple people together and now you've got a party. And then everybody else, if they're aligned, will come. But you need an anchor of people. And when I think about an anchor of a group of people, I think about like the magic of 4. There's a reason that we picked 4 as the magic number for our bands, because it's the perfect number of people, by the way. You can fit everybody in one car. You can fit everybody around one table for dinner. And where everybody feels, there's enough people there to have a conversation that's rich in diversity, but there's not so many people that other people don't get a voice, right? That can be easily drowned out. You can't get lost in that group of 4. And it's a palatable number when it comes to scheduling. If you get to a group of 8, then you got 8 people's schedules that have to align on a time. And 4 is the perfect number we have found. And also, if somebody was, really, really sick or had a family emergency and couldn't be there, you still have 3, which is a very dynamic conversation. So there's a lot of intentionality behind why we picked 4. But when you have these 4 people, it tends to create a good amount of energy that ripples out from there. You have an impact on the men around you in your life and other communities. People feel that and they get inspired by that witnessing brotherhood. The other thing that I think is so cool, and I'm complimenting you guys, is we talk about the gifts that we give to our kids. It's rarely the thing we say. We go, well, I gave my son that quote. I told my daughter these 7 powerful words, right? Those can be great things, but far more important, as we have found in this community, is what you model. And if you want to model the most important aspects of life, how cool is it that you guys are modeling community and conversation, which I think is, if I gave my kids one thing, one inspiration, one tool set, would be how to have friends, have meaningful conversations, and do life together. Because I feel like with that, they can do anything they want in life, right? Regardless of what book smarts they have, which can be very important. But man, the ability to be in relationship with other people and run the race together, that's incredible. Guys, what other stories might you share about conversations that came up in your group, topics that were explored that made a positive impact in your life?
I think along the lines of what you said about goal setting, like we just recently in our channel on our call, it actually came up around, hey, it's about that time where, I start creating my goals. I think Nadir was kicking this off, and it's like, hey, let's do this together. And I think that was one new, because normally personal goals are done in like isolation and maybe never even see the light of day. And so it was wonderful to be able to do that with another group of men who are in similar situations in life. I love my friends, but for a variety of reasons, like sharing my personal goals, like it doesn't really like connect with a lot of the places those relationships are at. And so then it was great because then we took it to our Telegram and everyone's sharing resources, just like, here's how I organize this. And we're asking questions and kind of riffing on that. And then we had our follow-up call and we're sharing our goals and we're giving feedback and we're talking through it. And it was just such a way more rich experience than had I just been sitting by myself, not talking about it, not getting feedback, not sharing it with anyone. And then now it's this great like sense of accountability. Like one, because I knew we had that call scheduled. So like I had to show up prepared and make sure that like I had something to bring to the group. But two, now I've shared it with people and we're all sort of invested in these goals. We want the other person to win at these goals. And so now it's cool because it's like, there's kind of like a shared ownership of this within the band. And I think that that's going to make something really special happen over the next 12 months when we revisit this in a band call. So.
That's awesome. I'll add to this so you can, anybody can answer the first question. But also I'll add to it, is there anything that you can identify that somebody said or did that really like challenged you, that brought out that like real competition in you? And you can almost blur that with comparing yourself against other people, but I don't think that's what we're after. I don't think that we subscribe to that typically as a community, like the business of comparing. But healthy competition, like when somebody goes, this is possible, and you go, man, I can see that for myself and I want to do that. Or I love to compete with the front row dads locally here in Austin on the volleyball court. And the shit talking that we do is legendary, but it's also part of the fun. Like it's such a healthy form of shit talking where we're laughing and just poking at each other. And, I don't know if I show up at this point for volleyball or shit talking. I mean, they're both equally as exciting for me to arrive to the courts for. But talk just, again, looking for other examples of what's working in your group so that other people might be able to see what's possible for them in these small group conversations.
Well, along with Ben's goal setting, I've been using the same template for setting my goals for like 6 years now, and it's been working for me. And then when I sat down to fill out my goals this year, it was like I hit a wall. Like I couldn't think of anything. Like I don't know why it wasn't coming through. Maybe just an off day. But then Ben shared his template he was using, which shameless plug is the one goal for each of the 6 pillars of Front Row Dads. And I loved copying that idea. So Ben shared his template with me, and I haven't shared it back with you guys yet, but I've got one main goal for each of the 6 pillars.
That's cool. Brian, anything that you wanted to toss in here?
Oh boy. Well, I know me and Alex kind of talk some football crap every so often. He being a Vikings fan and, I'm a Lions fan, but, no, overall, it's just been great having like the accountability of the group, especially with the goals. And yeah, just that's been kind of the main takeaway for that. So
how do you guys, let me ask an additional question here about safety. How did you guys get to the place where you trusted each other to open up and have real conversation? How do you get there?
I don't think we had to get there, which isn't a real answer, I know. But I don't know if it's just the environment that's already created for us through FRD. But like I don't know. I shared stuff with you guys the first time I talked to you that I haven't shared with some of my closest friends. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's just it already just feels like this is the space for that. So yeah, we
yeah, it was
didn't,
kind of just,
it didn't
go
take
ahead,
a month
sorry.
of us warming up to each other. It just, yeah, I think it's a culture that's already created here.
Yeah.
Yeah, really wasn't too hard from day one. Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
I mean, we've all got like some of my closest friends, maybe they don't have a kid at all. So it's tough to relate to them. And their goals might be and aspirations might be either way higher than mine or like, I don't know, just not the same. Or maybe they have kids that are way older and we just can't relate, or maybe we've grown apart since we were in our early 20s. But we've all got young kids, all under 5 years old, and we're all on the kind of on the same page. And yeah, it didn't take any acclimation. We opened up right away.
Yeah. I think front row dads in particular, the culture you mentioned, but I think it's like the people that it seems to attract are very much like, I've been a part of groups where it's like everyone is there looking to they're looking to get something out of it. And not that you don't want to get something out of front row dads, but I think the way that the band feels like they show up is what I need out of this is vulnerability and authenticity in a safe space. So I'm going to give that to the group. And I think that's what it felt like coming into this band that, again, they were already established in riffing, but like coming in, it felt like everyone was giving the thing that they wanted in return. And that like mutual respect and reciprocation just like naturally allowed those kind of conversations to just flow right from the get-go.
And guys, when you think about men out there listening to this that are either in bands or they're thinking about being a front row dad brother and maybe joining a band. And the truth is, they don't have to join front row dads to do that. The invitation, guys, is go find your people. We probably make it a little easier to do that. I think that's why people gravitate towards what we're doing. It's not everybody's skill set to go find and recruit and build the tribe. So we try to, I don't have 100 skill sets. I have like a couple, and I'm just doing the things I feel like are in my unique ability, as Dan Sullivan would say, or zone of genius has been said. So I'm trying to stay in that space. What advice would you have to guys out there that what could we share that hasn't been shared already for all these men that are listening, and you might be able to give them a little peek into your world or decisions you've made that have been healthy? Anything you want to share? You guys are also polite.
I'm having a good, yeah, I think I was talking with some other folks in front row dad that we kind of aligned on like, man, you know what? Like summits, events, all these things, like they never come at an ideal time, but I'm always so glad I went. And I think that's sort of like thematically life in general is like, man, how do we show up as dads? And it's like, just physically show up sometimes. And like, you'll do better than 90% of people who just don't even physically put their face in the environment to be successful. And to your other point too, it's like, yeah, dude, you can Google how to be a great dad. And like, you'll get every guru on the internet telling you all kinds of tips and tricks. But man, what I really just need I don't need a guru. I just need friends, and I need real dudes that are going to show up and have good conversations with me. And yeah, the summits, man, like they never come at a good time, but I'm always so glad I went. And it's like that accountability that you're looking for. And like, can you become healthy and in shape just on your own? No coach, no nutrition plan, just Googling it, making it on. Yeah. I mean, maybe, but like, man, if you have a coach or a team, you just accelerate the progress there. And so I think for me, it's like, man, just show up and like, just if you're going to do it right. And that's what I think the band is meant for me, and front row dads is meant for me. So
here's a full confession, Ben. So as the founder of Front Row Dads, there have been multiple times when we have a summit. And okay, for language purposes, for everybody who doesn't know, the summit is this online half day, like 3.5 hour event that happens every 8 weeks. And we focus on one of our pillars. There have been times when I'm like, I don't want to go. I know this is my group. I know this is what I started, but I don't want to go. And then I'll go. And I always walk away, and my dinner time conversations are different. My the way I speak to my family is altered. The way I navigate my calendar is altered. My beliefs, my blueprints, they're altered. I can't deny that fact. So many things that are inconvenient are impactful in our lives. And this year I took a, what's the word I want to say? Or what do I want to say? I took a more serious approach to my fitness than I ever have. And recently I put a picture online of just us playing volleyball. And like, there's a couple people that are like, damn, what's changed? Right? Like they saw a picture of me and they're like, what's changed? And here's what changed. I got a coach. I hired a trainer, and that's what changed, right? I literally put myself into an uncomfortable, I mean, this dude kicks my ass, and I'm working way harder than I ever would have without him, right? There's no question. I feel like I've read every article, seen it, like about when it comes to, exercise and eat right. Okay. Like, but dude, I'm in the best shape I've been in maybe my entire life right now because of this trainer. And it's not because I haven't read the books or listened to the podcast or done all the things. It's because this dude is challenging me. And then I had so much success with him at the gym. This was a one-to-one training situation. We just did on Monday. I don't know if you guys saw this, but we did our first Front Row Dad workout in my garage. And I brought 4 guys over, and dude, we pushed hard and it was amazing. And I hope that we have more of those that pop up where at least one day a week, guys, Front Row Dads are sparking workouts with people that are around them, even if they're not other Front Row Dads, but they're sparking 2, 3, 4 people to work out, and they can push each other in that way. Guys, anybody else want to chime in with anything we haven't said that needs to be said that you want to share your voice on as a regard? In open invitation for either Front Row Dads in general, a band, or even Front Row Dad Live. Things you want to say about those 3 things?
Well, Front Row Dad Live, besides getting to meet these 3 guys finally in person, I'm excited to, we were just talking about how every time we leave a summit, we're always glad that we went, even if it didn't seem convenient before it started. Like, we're already committed, flights booked, like we're going to be there. We're going to show up. We're going to have to show up, and we're going to want to show up too. But I'm excited to, get away from home and just fully dive in. I get a lot out of the summits, but I was telling these guys in our last band call a couple days ago, like 40 minutes in, I saw an email pop up and I'm like, I got to take care of that right now. And then I respond to the email, and I go open the comments and everyone's like, bonus time. And I'm like, what did I miss? I answered one email and I missed the best part. And, being live, when you're up in front of the room and there's 150 of us in there, I'm not going to be the guy pulling out my phone to respond to an email. So I will be fully immersed all the way there, 100% present, which I'm really looking forward to, and connecting with a bunch of other great guys that are looking to achieve the same things I am. I'm also looking forward to that flight home is like a decompression time, like sitting in my layover and on the plane, like, reviewing my notes and being, okay, how can I implement this in my life? And yeah, just taking it all in.
Quick pro tip, guys, for anybody who goes to events. It doesn't have to be Front Row Dad events, but anybody that goes, schedule time to pour into your family before and after the event. So when you pour into your family before the event, they feel filled up and they're like, have a great time. And when you pour into them after the event, they always have something to look forward to, being with you, having you involved, even knowing that you're gone for several days. And also create buffer time before and after to transition. You talk about that processing and maybe decompression. Give yourself a little room after an event also to transition, integrate the information, and then go back home. And you never want to come back home like you've emptied yourself at an event. You always want to come home like you have filled yourself at an event, because if your partner, your spouse, starts to attach the fact that when you go away, you come back empty with nothing to give the family, they won't want you to go away. But if they start to associate the fact that when you leave, you come back stronger, more energy, more present, more powerful, they start kicking you out the door to go to these events because they want you to arrive home a better version of yourself, right? So that's where, again, going to empty yourself, release all of the tension, and then just use all your energy for other people, for the rest of the world. That's not the way it goes. You're going to go to this event and get recharged, but how you manage your calendar before and after. I used to be a lunatic. I would be like the night before I'd leave and I'd be frantically saying to my wife, I have to leave tomorrow. Do you know how much I have to do for my business? I got to pack. I got to do this. No wonder she got resentful of me leaving, because I was an asshole for the 24 hours prior to the trip, not present with them, couldn't focus on them, had to get packed, had to do these last minute details for my business. But if we plan better, then we can exit our homes with solid, with a solid nature about ourselves, and they're supportive of that. That's a way better way to do it. Guys, any other final comments?
Some bonus time right there. That's good.
Bonus time, yeah. Well, I haven't booked my return flight, and I was talking to these guys about that very thing. Leaving the event, I think ends at 3, and the earliest flight the latest flight I could get out of it is like 4:30 p.m. And these guys are like, no, don't do that. Just Alex offered, let's just get a hotel room at the airport, and we'll fly out together the next morning. And so I think I'm going to do that.
So guys, this event is 10 minutes from my house, and my team just asked me, when do you want to check out of the hotel? And my answer was Monday. So this is 10 minutes from my home. The event ends Sunday at 3, but I'm going to literally take the entire Sunday afternoon. And by the way, I feel like I want to make a note of this. I am fully present for my family a lot. So this time that I take is not me abandoning my family. I don't feel that way. My wife doesn't feel that way. She feels grateful that I have this community event, but I'm going to take that Sunday to myself. I'm going to gift myself that time to integrate, to go for a long walk, to sit, to debrief, and then to charge myself and get an amazing night's sleep. So when I walk in on Monday, I'm going to show up 100% ready for my family. Yeah. And that's I could be home that night. I could be home in an hour if I wanted to rush home, but I don't think that's the move. I don't think that's the move.
Yeah, that's bonus time for sure.
Well, guys, last invite to say anything that needs to be said that you want to say. All righty. Well, then we'll call it a call. Hey, gentlemen, thank you so much for making time today in the calendar. I want to give props, by the way, to Alex. When we started this, I said, is there a hard stop? And Alex you said, what was it? You have something coming up?
Yeah, my daughter's got her first basketball class or camp today. And it starts in 30 minutes, and I need to be there.
Yeah, he said, I'm out at 3 Central. And I said, dude, that's the type of boundary setting and clear statements that we want more of in Front Row Dads. I had a guy, Alex, the other day say, can we chat on Friday? Now, some of you guys know this about me, right? My answer was, hey, dude, I just want you to know that you can try me on Friday, but I don't schedule anything on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday on my calendar. Nothing. It doesn't mean I won't take a call. It just means I refuse to schedule anything. So a boundary for myself and a gift for my family. And he goes, I can't tell you, 10 times in the last 10 months, people have said, I fully respect that, and I'm going to start doing that. Right? I need that in my life. I love it. Thank you, Alex, for having clear boundaries. Our time is up, gentlemen. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for being part of Front Row Dads. I look forward to seeing you in person in Austin here in just a couple weeks. And my best to all of you and your families.
Thanks, John.
Appreciate you having us.
Yeah, thanks, John. Looking forward to it.